Raila Amolo Odinga, a towering figure in Kenya's political history, a man whose life reflects both turbulence and triumph, a leader committed to democracy and reform, a bridge between Kenya's past and its hopes for the future. Born into political legacy, he charted his own path through struggle, service, family, and unrelenting advocacy. Early life and family background. Raila Amolo Odinga was born on January 7, 1945 at the Maseno Mission Hospital in Maseno, Kisumu District, Nyanza Province. His parents were Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, a prominent leader in the struggle for Kenyan independence and the country's first vice president, and Mary Ajuma Odinga. He comes from the Luo ethnic group. Growing up, he was exposed earlier to political ideas, debates, and activism through his father's involvement in national politics. Primary and secondary education. Raila began his formal education in Kisumu Union Primary School. He later transferred to Maranda Primary School and then proceeded to Maranda High School in Bondo, where he completed his secondary education until about 1962. Higher education in German. After his secondary schooling, Raila was sent to East German under scholarship. He spent time at the Herder Institute to study German language and philology. Then he went to the technical school in Magdeburg, where he pursued engineering studies. In 1970, he graduated with a Master of Science in Mathematical Engineering. Early career, employment, and business. Upon graduating in 1970, Raila returned to Kenya. Early in his career, he combined his engineering background with entrepreneurship. In 1971, he founded Standard Processing Equipment Construction and Erection Limited, a firm dealing in the manufacturing of liquid petroleum gas cylinders. Later, the company became known as East African Spectre Limited. Public service at Kenya Bureau of Standards in 1974. Raila joined the Kenya Bureau of Standards as Group Standards Manager. By 1978, he was promoted to Deputy Director at the Bureau. He held that position until 1982, when major political events disrupted his career. He also had a stint as a lecturer at the University of Nairobi, particularly shortly after his return. This role overlapped with his early business ventures. Family life, marriage, and children. While working at the University of Nairobi in the early 1970s, Raila met Ida Anyango Oyo. She was a student and later a teacher at the University of Nairobi. They married on September 1st, 1973. Ida was born August 24, 1950. She pursued her education at Ogande Girls School, Highlands School, which is a Moi Girls High, and then University of Nairobi, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree. After her graduation, she worked as a high school teacher at Kenya High School, among other roles. She has long been active in social causes, women empowerment, constitutional reform, and education. Children. Raila and Ida Odinga had 4 children: Fidel Odinga, Rosemary Odinga, Raila Odinga Jr., and Winnie Odinga. Challenges faced by family during times when Raila was detained. Ida raised the children relatively alone, working as a teacher. Also, because of Raila's political position, she lost her job and was evicted from the staff quarters at the school where she taught. Political career. This is perhaps the most eventful part of Raila's life. It includes detentions, activism for multi-party democracy, runs for high office, contestations, and leadership roles. Given his father's prominent role in Kenyan politics, Jaramogi Odinga was deeply involved in Kenya's push for independence and later government. Raila had early exposure to political debate, activism, and the workings of power. In 1982 detention, Raila was accused of involvement with the plotting a coup against President Daniel Arap Moi. He was detained without trial for 6 years. This was a defining period in his life: hardship, resistance, and cementing his image as a political dissident and proponent of reform. After his release, he continued activism, opposing one-party rule, pushing for constitutional reforms, often being arrested. In 1991, he at times sought refuge overseas. He was associated with the Forum for the Restoration of Democracy, that's Ford Kenya, when multi-party politics began resurfacing. In 1992 general election, Raila won the Lang'ata parliamentary seat under Ford Kenya. He was re-elected in subsequent elections. Over the years, Raila has been part of or founded several political parties or movements. Examples include the National Development Party, NDP. He joined after internal disputes. Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, emerged in the mid-2000s, especially after the 2005 constitutional referendum. Opposition to certain changes under then President Mwai Kibaki. ODM later became Raila's principal political platform. Raila has contested for the presidency multiple times. 1997, ran unsuccessfully under NDP. 2007, major bid under ODM, leading to highly disputed elections. He was a leading candidate and had widespread support in many provinces. Following the violence and dispute after the 2007 elections, Raila became Prime Minister under power-sharing Grand Coalition government with President Mwai Kibaki. In this role, one of his lasting legacies was the adoption of Kenya's new constitution in 2010. Reforms aimed at devolution, judicial independence, electoral reform, and handling of youth unemployment. Even after serving as Prime Minister, Raila continued to be a central figure in Kenyan politics, leading the Orange Democratic Movement, running for president in 2013, 2017, and 2022, always advocating for transparency, constitutionalism, and governance reforms. He has also served in other notable roles such as the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development. Challenges, setbacks, and legacy. Imprisonment and political repression. Like many reformists, Raila's political life was punctuated by periods of political imprisonment, detentions, and suppression under one-party rule. He also suffered political isolation at times, particularly under the Moi regime. Especially the contested 2007 elections, which led to violence, loss of lives, displacement, and eventually negotiation and power sharing. The challenges of ensuring free, fair, credible elections has been a central theme of Raila's career. The political struggle exacted costs on his family. During his periods in detention and political opposition, the family faced eviction, loss of livelihood, and social pressure. His children, particularly Fidel, who passed away in 2015, were part of public life and symbolic figures in his campaigns and image. Achievements and impact. One of Raila's most enduring contribution is Kenya's 2010 constitution, which introduced major changes. That's devolution of power, clear separation of power, increased checks and balances, protections for civil rights. Throughout his life, Raila championed multi-party politics and electoral justice, including constitutionalism and the empowerment of marginalized people. His voice has often been seen as the conscience of Kenyan politics by those who follow him. As an engineer and standards officer early on, Raila had a background in technical and industrial affairs. His business, Spectre Limited, is one of the companies in Kenya manufacturing LPG cylinders. The work of Ida Odinga and Raila's own support for constitutional clauses, e.g. gender representation, social causes, education, have influenced policy and awareness in women's and social empowerment. In his later years, Raila remained active in politics, continuing to campaign, being involved in national debates, pressing for electoral reforms, accountability, and inclusivity. He held the role of African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development, contributing to regional infrastructure strategy. His influence is greater than the offices he held. He remains a symbol to many Kenyans of the struggle for democracy, for justice, for giving voice to those on the margins. Whether one agrees or disagrees with his politics, his persistence, his resilience, and his commitment to certain principles are undeniable. Raila Amolo Odinga's life is one of the contrasts between power and marginalization, between imprisonment and public leadership, between personal sacrifice and national service. He built bridges, sometimes literally, often metaphorically, of hope, reform, and possibility. As Kenya continues its journey, his legacy will be measured not only by the laws passed or posts held, but by the extent to which Kenya becomes more just, inclusive, and democratic. Dreams that Raila carried with him all the way. R.I.P.